Hey friend, this is Eric from Miller Music, and today what I want to talk about is layering different guitar parts. Typically when we think about layering guitar parts, we think about taking one part and then recording it a bunch of times to get this big sound. But what I want to talk about in the video today is something that I've learned over the last 25 years of playing guitar, recording guitar parts, and it's also the same techniques that I've heard used by guitar bands with like two guitar players, and even like Queen with Brian May and John Mayer, some of my favorite players. So I want to show you that inside of the video today. Let's jump in. Okay, so the first step is writing interesting guitar parts, and breaking this down more specifically is knowing which is your rhythm guitar parts, which is your lead guitar parts, and then also within that creating harmony parts and even octaves. So harmonies would be like when two singers sing together in harmony. You do the same with guitar, and then octaves, just playing something an octave above or below another part to create this layered effect. So I have an example here pulled up from a song I just recently recorded. And first we're going to start with the lead guitar part. So you can hear that, and then we're going to add in the rhythm part. So here's the lead. And then let's bring in the rhythm. Now we're going to add another clean part. So you can start to see that it creates this layered effect. Now, these guitars are playing all different parts, but it still has this layered effect of different parts playing different things. Moving on, let's go into like octaves. So now in this part of the song, the main foreground or the melody of the song is doubled. Let's listen to that. So it really makes it stand out, so you can hear that a little bit more clearly than because it goes an octave above. Let's listen to the next part. Now this part of the song is kind of one of my favorite techniques, is when you harmonize different guitar parts. I think of like, Brian May and his solos. A lot of times he would harmonize, or like Southern rock bands, they have like dual guitars harmonizing. It's such a cool technique. Let's listen. So if we just isolate those two parts, and I take out everything else, so this is just the two harmonized parts. Oh, let's take out that clean part too. So you kind of get this, layered effect of different harmony parts, which is cool. Now you can take that to the next level, which is adding 3 different harmonized parts. Okay, so we're going to do that here, where you can hear all 3 different parts. So the trick with this is you still want to be able to hear that main melody part, so that the harmony parts are not overbearing, taking over the melody. Same thing when you're doing singing. So that's one simple way. The first technique I want to show you in terms of like how to create interesting guitar parts. Hey, if you don't know me, my name is Eric Miller, and I help guitar players with recording and music production. And I want to let you know that I'm opening up some spots for free consultations. So if you're looking for help with something like recording, mixing, mastering, or writing guitar parts, songwriting, I want to encourage you to jump on a call with me. It's totally free. We meet for 15 minutes over Zoom, and we can discuss what you're looking to get help with. I can let you know how I can help you, and just generally to see if it's a good fit. So to sign up for this and get access to this free consultation, just click the link in the description below. Back to the video. Okay, so step number 2 in layering and creating interesting guitar parts is to dial in your tone. Specifically within this, you can dial in, tone from your guitar or guitars, your amp or amps or pedals, to get different sounds. Now, the easiest thing to do is to, use two different guitars. But what happens if you don't have two different guitars? You can simply use two different pickups within the same guitar. So for example, in this song, I'm only using one guitar throughout, but in each part, I'm using a different pickup. So for example, here is the solo section of the song, and I'm using the neck pickup. So you can really hear it's got that really stratty tone. But over here on like the beginning of the song, I'm using the bridge and the middle positions. So it's almost got that like definitely still stratty tone, but it's a little bit of a humbucker because you have both the bridge and the middle playing. Now here on this setting right here, so that's a clean setting. So it's same guitar, but now no distortion, totally clean, and using that same bridge and middle. So it's kind of got that strat, chimey sound, but when you mix them with all the other different parts, it can sound really cool. The second thing is using different pedals, so experimenting with different pedal sounds. So obviously this is a clean, but then you mix that. So let's just listen to that again. Here is the clean sound with a dirty sound at the same time. So again, it creates this layered effect. Now, one thing with amplifiers, a lot of times two different guitar players will use two different amps. So, you can use a Fender and a Marshall, or a Vox and a Marshall. But I only have actually one tube amp right now, so I just have a Fender tube amp, so I didn't do this. But this is another reason that I love amp sims and different pedals, because you can actually create within amp sims, dial up different amp sounds. But I have a bunch more videos, and specifically I have this video on using amp sims within Studio One. You can click the link above to check that out. Okay, so the third thing when layering guitar parts is to mix your guitar parts. Specifically within mixing, I'm talking about setting levels, so making sure your levels are all good, and then the next thing would be panning, and then lastly setting up a bus track. So you can see here, everything I have in green is all of the guitar parts. So there's quite a bit of different channels here that are using guitar. I'm going to unmute this. And so the first thing is setting levels. You can see that these are set to all different levels. Basically, you have -8, -4, -10. So this is where you're going to just use your ear to see what sounds good to you, to your ear in terms of leveling. And you also want to make sure that it sounds good with the rest of the mix. So let's listen to this really quickly unsoloed. So this is with all of the parts in it. Let's give it a listen. So obviously you can hear the drums, the bass, the keys are in it now, not just the guitar parts. So you want to have everything leveled out, sounding really good. Second thing is panning. So in Studio One, you just drag this to the right or left. So I have, to create more of that layered effect, for example, the two different rhythm guitar parts are panned hard right and hard left. Okay. Then some of the harmony parts are panned opposite of the lead part. So that would be a simple thing to do. For your lead guitar part, put it straight up the middle. Then with the harmony parts, you pan them right or left. And lastly is the bus track. So here I have one guitar bus, which is in green here. And these are everything that I have on my guitar channel. You don't see any effects actually within the guitar channels themselves. Now, obviously I have effects on guitar, but this is what I put on the bus so you can see it. So first is a fat channel. This would just be for added color. Then I have a little bit of a room reverb with a plate setting. Pro EQ, just to take out some of the lows, and the highs. Just do a high pass and a low pass filter on that. And then a little added delay. So let's listen to it really quick without the just going to go back to listening to guitar parts, and then let's listen to them without the effects on them through the bus channel. So this is just no effects. Okay, let's listen to that again with the effects to hear the difference. Not too much difference, but you do hear a little bit more, I don't know, warmth in it to my ear when I add those. I think that's partially from a little bit of the room reverb and the delay, and it cleans it up with those channel EQ. Okay, so to summarize, we talked about 3 different things. Step 1 was to write interesting guitar parts, and this is talking about using foreground, background, using harmonies, okay, in your guitar parts, also using octaves. Step number 2 is dialing in good tones. So this would be like using 2 different guitars, using 2 different amps, or a combination of different sounds using your pedals. And then finally, step number 3 is mixing. So in mixing, we talked about setting your levels, we talked about panning, and we also talked about using a bus track with adding different effects. So I encourage you, if you are looking with help with for help with your mixes, I encourage you to sign up for a free consultation. It's a discovery call with me. You can do so by clicking the link in the description below, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.